They're pretty much all over the map. The reason for this is that in a forelimb of a fold, you develop a very complex sequence of folding and faulting. So you're starting off with a flat layer, and then as you initially start folding it, you shorten it. And as you continue to fold it, you start pulling it apart. And then finally, you start thrusting the whole thing over the fold, and then you get a lot of the folds on back thrusts. So what I've done is sort of shown that schematically here. Get towards the outcrop a little bit less. So initial folding here above a thrust, fault propagation fold, is you actually have to shorten that layer. And so what you'll get are a lot of thrust faults, which are oftentimes subparallel to the bedding. You'll also get shear on bedding, consistent with it's basically antithetic to the fault itself. Basically, if you don't have shear on bedding, it's hard to fold things. So for instance, I take this book here, I can pin the sheets, and trying to fold that is very hard. If I allow slip on layering, it's very easy. So there's slip-on bedding. There's also thrust faults typically developing inside, also perhaps strike slip. What happens though is as this zone of shear, and you think of this as a zone of shear, as that steepens up, the bed gets to a point where in order to continue to fold, it has to elongate. And then you get these small faults, which oftentimes people mistake to be really thrust faults related to the main thrusting. All they are, you may see a good number of them in the Cambrian, all they are basically layer extension. So you're stretching this thing out. Finally you stretch it out and you break the thrust through. In this case I've just schematically shown the conglomerate here. And this thrust is going to go in this direction, but in the process it's going to develop back thrusts, which are a lot of these faults. Like this big zone right here is a back thrust, pretty sure here. And there's also a bunch in the conglomerates too, according to Hoy and Ridgway and their work. So you take these faults and those faults and these faults and you get this outcome.